This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Policeman arrested in Donnelly Donaldsons case. Noel Maitland, the cop implicated in the case of missing social media influencer Donnelly Donaldson, is in custody. He surrendered to the officers from the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force on Wednesday. His attorney Christopher Townsend confirmed the update. Townsend says Maitland turned himself in at the invitation of the police. They asked him for the arrangements to be made, and he came into my office. He was debriefed. The officers came, they sat, and we spoke about the timetables, Q&As, etc., and they took him into custody, he said. The 24-year-old woman was reportedly last seen at Maitland's apartment at the Chelsea Manor in New Kingston on July 11. She was reported missing on July 13. Maitland is based at the Cotton Spring Police Station in St. Andrew. Relatives and the fans have staged several protests over the pace of the investigation. On Sunday, the Jamaica Constabulary Force said it was making significant progress in the probe. A lengthy review of the case took place Tuesday involving the JCF, the Independent Commission of Investigations, and the Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn. Wife mourns after husband killed in Hayes Clarendon. The estranged wife of a man killed in a shooting incident in Hayes Clarendon on Tuesday night is remembering him as a kind-hearted and generous man who was well loved in the community. 40-year-old laborer Christopher Romani, otherwise called Lucky, was among two people killed after gunmen invaded a shop and opened a fire on Romani and others playing dominoes. A 16-year-old boy also died in the incident, which left 5 others nursing gunshot wounds. When the news visited the community on Wednesday morning, Ingrid Cooper broke down in tears as she mourned the loss of her estranged husband. "It a go break me down, even though we are apart for about 5 years now. When me and him did live, him never make me hungry. Me have other kids that don't belong to him, and him never make them want anything. Make sure that they went to school, etc. Him miserable and him loud and cuss, but he was a nice person who was well loved in the community," Cooper said. Senior Superintendent Glenford Miller, the commanding officer for the Clarendon Police Division, said intelligence work is being carried out on the ground to find out a motive for the shooting and unearth the perpetrators of the crime. Portland man charged after chopping man in the face. A man was arrested and charged with wounding with intent after he inflicted chop wounds to a man's face in Boston District, Portland on Tuesday, July 19. Charged is 24-year-old Jason Goldburn, a painter of Hope Bay in Portland. Reports are that about 11:19 a.m., the victim was at home when he was attacked by Goldburn, who used a machete to inflict chop wounds all over his face. The police were summoned, and on their arrival, the victim was taken to the hospital, where he was admitted for treatment. Goldburn was taken into custody the same day and was later charged after being interviewed in the presence of his attorney. Sentencing of St. Mary man charged with burglary pushed back. The sentencing of a man who pleaded guilty to multiple sexual offenses against the minors was pushed back to September when he appeared in the St. Mary Circuit Court on Wednesday. Sheridan Shepherd, who was charged in June 2021 with 6 counts of burglary, 5 counts of indecent assault, and 1 count of grievous sexual assault, was expected to be sentenced on Wednesday. However, the news received the reports that the sentencing did not take place after he changed his guilty plea, alleging that he was instructed to plead guilty. Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn, however, dismissed that report and insisted that the guilty plea was still on record. He has not changed his plea. He made certain utterance to the probation officer, Llewellyn told the news Wednesday evening. The judge is going to take some time to consider it and to come back in September. As far as the record is concerned, he has still pleaded guilty, she added. The mother of 2 of the victims, who waited several hours on Wednesday for the sentencing, expressed disappointment at the delay. "I am disappointed, but sometimes disappointment is good, you know," she said. The case is now set for September 27 in the Home Circuit Court. Murder charge bail application for music producer Shabdon pushed back. A bail application for popular music producer Linval Shabdon Thompson Jr., who is accused of murdering 3 persons in St. James, has been postponed for a future date. When the case was called up in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court on Tuesday, his attorney Donahue Martin indicated that he would wait until the case file was substantially completed before making the application. At the last court appearance in June, Martin had informed that he would make an application when the matter was mentioned on Wednesday. However, this did not happen. Martin, who notified the court after the prosecutor advised that the case file was incomplete, has requested a copy of the scene of crime statement and a compact disc. The attorney vehemently denied the allegations against his client, who was ordered to return to court on August 22. The attorney argued that the claims are either malicious or mistaken. Shabdon is charged for the shooting deaths of 27-year-old Chadwell Fraser, otherwise called Bombrain or Chad, 24-year-old Chamario Chippy Calvin, and the 26-year-old Tonian Two-Fly Reed. They were shot dead at a birthday party on Marl Road in Rose Heights on May 25. The music producer was arrested by police in June during a targeted operation in the St. Catharines South Police Division following preliminary investigations into several incidents. In the meantime, Thompson Jr. is scheduled to go on trial on a bribery charge in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court on November 28. In that case, he is accused of offering $2 million to a policeman to remove an illegal firearm from his motor car before it was searched by cops. Thompson Jr., who was charged with illegal possession of firearm and ammunition arising from the seizure, was freed in April. Fine for abusive language to Transport Authority inspectors reduced to $100,000. Transport Minister Audley Shaw says an amendment will be made to the controversial provision in the Transport Authority Act which had a fine of up to $500,000 for persons convicted of using abusive and calumnious language towards Transport Authority personnel. The maximum fine will instead be $100,000. Mr. Shaw made the announcement on Wednesday at a public transport defensive driving seminar in Manchester. He said after carefully analyzing the provision, lawmakers realized that there was need for some adjustment there. Still, he sought to explain that the initially suggested figure of $500,000 had been determined with the expectation that a judge could have room to decide individual fines.
We've looked at it carefully and we realized that there was need for some adjustment there because I think the perception is that 500,000 would be kind of a room that the judge would have to make a decision where in that room to make a decision. We have made a decision to make some adjustments to that, which will be done. And those adjustments will be that the present situation where offensive and calumnious language which now sees a fine of $50,000. The question of offensive and calumnious language, we will double that fine from $50,000 to $100,000. And however, threats made to our transport regulators and other people, those will see a larger fine of up in the region of perhaps about $200,000 to $250,000. Threats, right? Because we have to make sure that discipline needs to be kept on the road, and we cannot allow for people to be threatening those who are given the authority to provide and to supervise on the road. There are some drivers in this country who have hundreds of tickets that they have gotten for inappropriate driving on the road. Hundreds and hundreds of tickets. And the old act allowed them to just get the tickets and nothing happens. That's not going to continue. You get tickets, you're going to pay for it, but after a while you get too many tickets, your driver's license is going to be taken away from you because it means that you are a threat to the safety of people on our roads.
Clarendon police are trying to prevent reprisal following deadly attack in Hayes. The Clarendon police are on high alert to prevent reprisal attacks following the shooting death of 6 people in Newtown Phase 2 in Hayes on Tuesday night. 16-year-old Demaro Gibson and 40-year-old Christopher Romani, both residents of Hayes, died in the attack. Another 16-year-old boy and 3 men were injured. The police and the political representatives in Clarendon held a community meeting earlier on Wednesday with the family members of the victims of Tuesday night's attack and the residents of Hayes. Deputy Superintendent Owen Brown, the officer responsible for the community and the safety department in the Clarendon Police Division, appealed to the residents not to engage in vigilante justice.
We want to say to the residents, whatever they may have seen, whatever they may have heard, ensure that you pass the information on to the police. We don't want persons to take matters into their own hands. This may result in further lives being lost, and so we want to stop it right here. We're giving them our reassurance that we will investigate, we will find out the persons who have committed this crime.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.